Hey, welcome in, Packers fans. Whew. You called it, bro. You said until they show you something different, you're not picking them to win. And you were right. Oh, I wish you were wrong, but you were right. Now, some things changed, but it was like insane offensive line total shuffle and reshuffle, which seemed to be a lot more disruption than I think it needed to be. However, the offensive line probably was one of the bright spots on the offense today. I don't know.
I don't think there's any problem with the offensive line today.
It's just weird how many guys they moved to new spots to do what they, to line up today. It seemed like it could have been a less complicated solution, but
it's weird that Yash isn't good enough to start at right tackle. And then when Bakhtiari goes down, where he could play left tackle where he knows he's good at, they put him at right tackle, where he gets a bunch of penalties today. I would have just moved him back to left tackle and then just put Zach Tom at right tackle because, and by the way, Zach Tom, hey, shout out to that guy. He actually played today. Played pretty good. Didn't hear anything from him. No penalties. I'm going to have to watch tape again to see how good he was, like if he screwed up on plays or whatever. But I don't remember any glaring problems where he missed blocks a lot. Like I saw Jenkins miss one. I know for sure. I know Myers sucked a couple times. I know Runyon sucked a couple times. And we got a bunch of penalties on Yash. So the guy who wasn't expected to play, because apparently Aaron Rodgers said that everybody found out at the same time as we all found out, the players too.
Yeah, so you can't always believe what he says. But I mean,
that is true. That is true. But Zach Tom probably didn't have much practice time with the team, right?
Right. I would expect.
He came in. He was probably the second best player in offense. If you ask me, right after Aaron Jones.
I think he's an early he's early lead for possible silent but deadly player of the week. I don't know yet though. We gotta see the tape. Gotta review this.
I was thinking about him or something like that. Yeah.
We gotta watch the film though. Watch the film. David's here. David, yeah. What do you think, David? How you feeling after that one? The one thing I always enjoy is when I see Packers fans at other stadiums. I mean, even in Green Bay, you see it too, but like people still wearing their Favre jerseys after 18 years of Rodgers. Yeah, and there's still Favre jerseys in the crowd. You gotta love that.
Get a new jersey, man. Even if it's a cheapy one off the street for $50, just get a new jersey. You don't need to be wearing that Favre crap.
It makes me laugh. So
look at how white my beard is. This is what the Packers have done to me. I look like Santa Claus. Somebody at work the other day was like, "Do you dye your hair?" I'm like, "Why?" No. They're like, "Well, your beard is so white and your hair is still brown. Why is that?" And I'm like, "The Packers. They're doing this to me. It's ridiculous."
Okay, well let's cover a couple of stats and then we'll have some key notes from the game. So just to go over the actual statistics, because there are some interesting things here. At one point they brought up the graphic as more and more people are now talking about what you've talked about for quite a while, and we've talked about on our show for quite a while, mostly because you're bringing it to our attention and our people's attention. How many passes the Packers throw behind the line of scrimmage that don't even go downfield? And so, yes, everybody knows Aaron Rodgers' completion percentage is up this year. Well, that's a big part of the reason why. It also makes the team very easy to guard and defend. It's very predictable. And today, at one point, like midway through the game or in the third quarter, they brought up the line, and it was half of the attempts were behind the line of scrimmage at that point of the game. Now, he had to throw a little more downfield in that last drive and, things like that. And they played a little softer. So I'm sure that evened out a little bit better or got a little bit more on the other side of things, but still just so many of those passes. It's just nobody's scared of them. No, that's the thing we're seeing with the Jets defense, the Giants defense, the Commanders defense is these younger, faster, athletic defenses with studs on the D line. They ain't worried about it, man. They just rush forward. They don't need to bring pressure, and they'll cover you up. And they're not worried about getting beat deep by anybody.
Well, it's a combination of all the things. Mm-hmm. Okay. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's wide receiver. We got to get a receiver. We got to trade for a receiver. We got to get a receiver. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. If we trade for a receiver, he has to be fast. That's about it. Make sure he's fast. Because otherwise it's not, you're just going to get more of the same guy we already got. Is that what you want? Another guy who's just like what we already have? That's dumb.
There's a lot of buzz around Claypool, and people are talking about that. But
well, I mean, I wanted to draft Claypool the year that he came out, and they took who did they take? I don't know, AJ Dillon or somebody. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but
right.
Listen, there was plenty of passes that were at guys' feet that were too high, too low, to the inside. And one time, Dale Johnston's like, "Oh well, people are going to say it's a bad pass because it was Robert Tonyan and had to lean back for it. But I mean, if he would have passed it where it was going to go, he would have been smacked and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, maybe I'll watch the all 22 and we'll see for sure. But either way, he could have just threw it right on him instead of throwing to where he was going. He threw it behind him. I don't know. And of course, Rodgers after said that there was should have been 7 or 8 balls caught in the game. Just taking that bus and going right over the top of his receivers right there. No blame on him. No blame on Rodgers. It's all the receivers.
Nothing about for those for his play. You got to go back and review the film, but he knows those plays, I guess.
Oh yeah, he remembers that. Last week he couldn't remember. He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I have to do better or not. I have to, I have to watch the film." But man, I know for a fact that there's 7 or 8. But this week, he doesn't. His film is he doesn't have to review the film. He knows there were 7 or 8 passes that should have been caught. That's hilarious. Hilarious.
Now, David brings that up too, because there were, catchable balls at times. He says, "Can we stop shooting ourselves in the foot and catch a football?" Now, yes, there were some passes that should have been caught, but there were also a number of passes that should have been thrown in a better spot to make them more catchable. And I'm sorry. I know everyone wants to get on Amari Rodgers, but Amari Rodgers deserves a little love. The team was lifeless, and he took a short pass and freaking turned it into a first down. He made some moves. He ran through some tackles. He showed some actual fight and aggression and got a first down on his own. And then he's deep on that ball. And he had the guy beat. That needs to be a better throw. He should not be having to dive to try to catch it. Aaron Rodgers needs to get that in a spot where he can run under it, catch it, and finish the run for a touchdown. Now, I still know they scored a touchdown on that drive, but after 3 penalty first downs. But Amari Rodgers played pretty damn well, and you need to look at him as some receiver time. I think he's actually pretty okay as a receiver. He can do things that other guys can't do.
Well, there's 3 things. Well, there's one thing for sure that needs to happen.
I know he muffed the punt, David. I know. And he's not great at punts, but he's pretty okay as a receiver.
He actually broke tackles today. I can't say that for anybody else on the team. Everybody else caught the ball and then got tackled, except for Aaron Jones. So, I mean, the guys who need to be in the game are Amari Rodgers, DeGuara, Aaron Jones. I mean, Lazard, if he's healthy, because he actually does catch the ball sometimes. I mean, the one time he dropped it on the first drive of the game, which doesn't help. I don't know what the fixation is on Davis, why he's always in the game. I don't know. I don't know. He's in way too much.
I got to look at DeGuara's snap count. We'll look at that for our next show because I want to get like updated snap counts. But the guy just seems to make decent plays. And it's very weird, right, Ben? Because when he was a rookie and he was in camp, they were set on basically going to play him a crap load, right? Like he was going to be on the field all the time. And then he had the injury and then he comes back and now it's just this little sprinkling of him, even though every time you actually throw him the ball, it's usually a pretty good play. Like it's a positive play. He catches the ball. He has good hands, solid hands. He's the most shifty and change of direction tight end we have. And I just don't get it. I mean, I don't get it.
He's actually shiftier and better change of direction than Alan Lazard and
most of the receivers, right?
Sammy Watkins and, at least the bigger receivers. But it's not just when he gets the ball. He picked up the blitz earlier in the game on a pass. He runs in the running game. He does a pretty good job blocking when he's back there. I don't know There was one play where he started out at tight end and he came all the way across formation and picked up the blitz on the other side. And then later on in the game, he started at fullback, but it was like a split shotgun backs. And he came across the formation and picked up the blitz on the other side. So he's a smart guy who does all kinds of things. It's just he needs to be on the field.
I don't know. David thinks there's something with 12. I don't know why he wouldn't be on the field otherwise, unless we got to get Big Dog on the field more.
Yeah.
Is that part of it? Is the request not so subtle request from the quarterback to have Big Dog out there more? Is that affecting number 81 not being on the field as much? But then again, you point out how Davis is on the field, and we don't know why, because it's weird. Like I don't get it. Oh, sorry, but Amari Rodgers also made a diving catch on a terrible ball for nearly a first down catch. Would have been a first down if it was a better pass, and it was thrown behind him, and he had to go to the ground to catch it, but he caught it. So there's another one that could have been incomplete for Rodgers, but actually Amari Rodgers bailed his ass out. So Amari Rodgers made some really good plays today at receiver, and I think he needs to get some time at receiver.
I just think listen, I think his punt return days are done. It's obvious it's not a fit for whatever reason. He's muffed too many punts. Okay. He's looking right before the ball gets there. He looks down to see who's going to hit him, and then he doesn't catch it. Like it happened. That's what happened in that play. He just looked down too soon. And it doesn't help, to be honest, that there was guys right in his face on both those first two punt returns. Like, it wasn't like he had a whole lot of space to work with. He knew guys were coming right at him, and he was worried about it. And what are you going to do? What's worse, is he muffs it or he catches it and the guy smacks him right away and then he fumbles? You know, I mean, the blocking has got to be better. They got to get, I don't know. And I like Rudy Ford and I like Nixon.
I like Rudy Ford on defense.
Yeah. Oh, I like them both on defense, to be honest. I like them better. I think Eric Stokes needs to be the fourth corner. I think he needs to be sitting on the bench.
Me too.
If you ask me. I think it needs to be Rasul Douglas starting, Jair starting, though I don't know about. And then Nixon should be playing nickel.
Yep.
And then bring Stokes in dime situations.
Kevin King role. He can have the Kevin King role that Kevin King had late
no,
last year.
He can't do that either, because at least Kevin King sometimes would like get in the mix on run plays. Stokes doesn't want nothing to do with the run plays. All you have to do is run at him or Jair the whole game, and you're going to be fine. Like, if you can get to the edge, that sucker's going for 20 yards every time. No doubts. Because those guys don't tackle. They don't want to tackle. That one play where Jair went up to the number 8 running back, right? And he like bumped into him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bumped into him, didn't wrap him up.
Right, didn't wrap him up.
Yeah, luckily Campbell or somebody was there to tackle him, and I'm like, yeah, you're lucky there's somebody else there next to you, because that guy would have ran you right over if there wasn't a linebacker sitting there.
I know.
Because the only reason why that running back wasn't aggressive was because there was like 3 or 4 Packers. Right? You know, it was Jair and I think Campbell and then another guy behind him, and he was like, oh crap, I can't probably get past these guys. And he was thinking about it, but I don't know. There's a lot of issues. Obviously, we are losing 3 games in a row. We're doing the same dumb crap. At least they tried something different offensive line. And I think Zach Tom proved today he can play. Let's play him. I like the guys they had out there.
Should we celebrate that? Royce didn't see a single snap today. Should we celebrate it?
Yeah.
It only took how many? I mean, they saw all this from him all last year, but they were still convinced he had to be on the field until the last week of the season, right? Or last 2 weeks of the season, where they finally, Myers came back and then they started Patrick and put him on the bench. And then coming into camp after they let Lucas go, then they're like, no, Royce is a starter. It's either going to be right tackle or it's going to be right guard, or Royce is starting no matter what, right? That was the whole mindset. And it took 6 games of this to see, plus all the stuff you saw in him last year, for them to finally see it. Anyway, at least they finally saw it, I guess. Sorry, but we can celebrate that. No Royce today.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, who's going to step up and be the leader of this team? Who's going to step up and be the guy who rallies the troops and gets them ready to go? Like the Washington Commanders today.
They look terrible.
They look terrible. They were down 14-3. They if that was the Packers down 14-3, they would have never came back and done anything. It would have been even worse than what it was.
And Heineke started out terrible. He looked awful. But what did he do? And after the pick six, he freaking battled back, showed some fire, started making plays. And then you're like, uh-oh, they're showing fire and making plays. How are the Packers going to respond to this? That's what I thought. And the response, when was the response going to come? When a team scores 20 unanswered points on you, how does that happen? That teams will score points, but then you need to answer back. And especially when you have a leader, supposed leader, and a guy you're paying that much money at quarterback, you need to have an answer and a response. That cannot happen. And there was no response. There was no fire until Amari Rodgers lit a little fire, and Aaron Jones had some fire. But everybody else, by the way, Aaron Jones only got the ball 17 times today, even though people were like, whoa, he finally got Aaron Jones the ball, and it didn't really help, or it didn't really net much more offense. He only had 8 carries, 8 rushing attempts in this game. 12 rushing attempts, 8 for Aaron Jones, 4 for A.J. Dillon, 35 passing attempts in a game that you were never out of, it was always a close game.
But you said something interesting to me.
Stupid. What did I say?
You said 8, or how many catches did Aaron Jones have in this game?
9 catches, because I think Aaron Rodgers stepped back a couple times so he could shovel it forward a little bit. That's
right. And the touchdown, that's not a pass. And the second one was, obviously, that was a great pass and a great catch. Yeah. But the first one, that was a run, sort of. And all those little, are they counting those ones where he's going to the outside? Is that a pass?
If it technically goes a little bit forward, yep, that's a pass.
Well, those are runs in real life. So in that case, I don't remember him getting 9 catches. Even with a touchdown and then that one deep touchdown, other than those 2, I don't remember him getting passes downfield that much, or even in the flat. They must have called every one of those flip runs a pass, which is ridiculous. Take those away, Aaron Rodgers' stats are even worse.
It was 9. So, here's the situation, right? So we had Rodgers 23 out of 35 for 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So it's a 99 quarterback rating. So it looks like a good game, right? Right there.
Yeah, he's great.
23, 35, 194 yards, a little on the low side, but 2 touchdowns, no picks. 99 quarterback rating. Aaron Rodgers can look at that and say, hey, that's a good game for me. I didn't do anything wrong. Aaron Jones, 8 carries for 23 yards. So had some good runs, then had some rough runs. But, again, against a stud D-line. A.J. Dillon had only 4 carries for 15 yards. So only 12 carries. You passed this again. This goes back to, what did I say? In the three previous losses, is basically almost twice as many passes as runs. Today it was even more skewed than that. 35 passes and 12 runs. And I know not enough plays. I know you said that.
No, but 5 or 6, 7 of those passes that are counted as passes are runs.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So it's a misleading stat. It's a dumb stat. They're moving. Those are runs. And all it's doing is making Rodgers look better than he is. I mean, honest to God. What's Aaron Jones? He had 9 catches for how many yards?
53 yards. 5.9 yard average.
And what was his long that was a touchdown?
But he had 2 touchdowns. I think that one was like 20 yards or so. I don't see that one on here. But
so he had 8 catches for 20 yards? I don't know. It just seems...
Probably 8 catches for like 30 yards or something. Yeah, sounds about right.
Bottom line is, where are the crossing routes? Where are the easy passes? And I know Rodgers doesn't like those because I've seen him in press conferences where he complains about the fact, I really don't have to do anything on that play. But you know what? That's okay if you don't have to do anything on that play if the guy's running a crossing pattern and he gets open. And there was a couple. There was one of Sammy Watkins where the guy got his hand in there and it was actually early, but they didn't call it. But it was like a split second early, so I get it. But that should have been caught. And, but that's it. Why isn't there more of those? The freaking touchdown pass that the Washington ran, where the guy was right up where the Gibson, the first one, where he was right on the heel of the receiver or tight end or whatever it was. He just went right behind him and then just went right off him. And that was a great pass. That was a great play design. And I want to break that play down on Tuesday or whenever I can get the film, because why that play is so good is because that the receiver in front of him does an out route, and the Packers are playing the 3 deep zone, at this point, even though it's 3rd and 11 or something, right? And they're on the 12-yard line. And the reason why it's so good is because underneath that, coming from the other side of the field, is a shallow cross. And what that does is it freezes Quay Walker. If you watch the playback, Quay Walker can't go back to the end zone, where he probably should be, to try to stop a pass over his head. He has to look out for that shallow cross, so he kind of stays there because that shallow cross keeps him there. And then the outside receiver, who was in front of Gibson, goes to the outside, which takes Stokes away that way. And then all you got left is Savage. Well, he ain't gonna know where the hell anything's going on. Boom, touchdown. It's a great play. It took advantage of the stupid zone the Packers like to run. Great play. And a great pass and a great catch. I mean, it was all good. And then Savage is looking at Stokes after, like, what are you doing? Well, Savage is not used to playing zone, or Stokes isn't used to playing zone. But the play was, he probably should have let that guy go, and Amos could have went back and covered him. But, who knows? It was a great play design.
Yeah, I thought that too. Like a couple times during the game, Washington had specific plays that attacked a specific area of the defense or certain players on the defense, and they worked really well. And they give the quarterback a couple options, and you stress the defense or one defender, and they have to choose, and then you just throw it to the other person. When they choose one person or one side, then you go to the other guy in that area, and it works out great. And the Packers just don't run plays like that. We know that. Another thing that was a problem today, as you mentioned it earlier, is total plays. Total plays. 72 total plays for Washington, 47 total plays for the Packers. The Packers were 0 for 6 on 3rd down, 0 for 1 on 4th down, which was, again, we can talk about that 4th down call. But they did get 3 first downs by penalty on that last touchdown drive. So, that was how they got their first downs. At least they can still get first downs by penalty. That's something they can still do. Ridiculous, man.
I think they were legit penalties based on the way the game
was
called.
They were. They were.
The defense got a touchdown call back on a bullcrap call on Stokes. I mean, was he touching them a little bit? Yeah. But I've seen the Packers receivers get manhandled downfield way worse than that, and nothing gets called in a bunch of games. So apparently this crew loves – you can't breathe on a guy past 5 yards apparently, or else you're getting a penalty called on you. Whatever. But I'm not too worried the penalty-wise goes. But the fact that the only way you can keep a drive going and get even in scoring range is by penalty is pretty sad.
Jared was here and asked, can Mason Crosby not make a 52-yard field goal anymore? Probably not, Jared. Probably not. I would say it's like a 50-50 chance. So I don't know about that. And then Jago Sev's here. David's wondering what's with all the shotgun formations. Matt LaFleur brought it up last week. Was pressed about it by Jason Wilde last week. I don't know. They keep doing it. That's the way they do it. Although I think Rodgers was actually under center more frequently today than he was last week. It's just that only 47 plays. That's pretty hard. Jago says, yes, look, after every loss, PFF and SI move you guys higher in the power rankings. Point is, you guys in the media heads believed the Super Bowl nonsense. We didn't believe it. It wasn't, they weren't a Super Bowl team with Devontae Adams or without Devontae Adams, not with this particular setup, Jago.
No.
So Ben and I certainly didn't think they'd make Super Bowl this year.
This offense would have looked just like this last year without Devontae Adams. What scares me is in the past, in 2020 and 2019, when Devontae Adams was injured, the offense looked much better. But because I think the offensive line was better, and they were more, and the team as a whole, and the coaching staff and Rodgers were more secure with the offensive line in front of him, and they weren't as worried about the pass protection, so they could take passes downfield. And you saw like Alan Lazard had a big game against the Saints, and Robert Tonyan had the big game against the Atlanta Falcons, and in 2019 or 20 or whatever year it was, and other games. Aaron Jones against Kansas City, they used him and they had a game plan to get the ball to him and focus him against linebackers to have him become a mismatch. And they did that kind of stuff. And they were able to because I think the offensive line was much better. And that's part of it. Offensive line, not as good, period. But also, the bad part is now that's why their offense now, because the offensive line isn't good, they're trying to throw the ball in like a second, 2 seconds, and all that kind of stuff. So you're seeing all these 1-yard passes to the outside, 2-yard passes to the outside, getting the ball to your hand in less than 2 seconds every time because they're worried about the offensive line. But it doesn't take any advantage of the middle of the field. It doesn't put any pressure on the defense at all. All you have to worry about is these short passes. And it's really made them, honestly, first of all, not fun to watch. And secondly, the probably most boring and predictable offense in the NFL. And the thing is, the only difference between this and the fact of Davante Adams is that Rodgers would trust Davante and just chuck it to him. And Davante is not a great receiver as far as like speed, getting open. Everybody thinks he's great at getting open. He's not that great. Rodgers just threw him open sometimes. But what he was really good at was locating the ball in the air. There a lot of times you can see him on those 20-yard fade routes where he locates that ball really early and knows where it is, and then he waits, and then throws his hands up right at the last second, catches it. But he located it way before that. These guys like Amari Rodgers, even Alan Lazard sometimes, Romeo Doubs, they don't have that skill. They can't locate the ball in the air as well as Davante Adams could. So now when Rodgers tries those fade passes and those deep down the sidelines, it doesn't happen because they don't know where to go. So maybe that's why it's a little tick off. I think Rodgers' passes probably were just as bad last year as they are this year.
Hold on.
But Adams was able to like make those plays.
Wait a minute. What did you just say? What did you just say? I think you just said this.
I got to raise my game, probably a little tick, probably a little tick.
I think you said a tick off. So, I mean,
did I? Well, it's probably because Aaron Rodgers got. I've heard that quote so many times this week from you that it's now in my brain.
That's hilarious. Sorry.
I mean, if I could go the rest of my life without having to listen to Aaron Rodgers, that'd be great. Like as soon as he's no longer a Packer, I don't care what he says. It'll be awesome. Because I am so sick of hearing his voice.
You know the other person who also feels that way? Who do you think it is, man? Matt LaFleur. Yeah. Matt LaFleur. Poor Matt LaFleur. Okay, so Jago, here you say, wait, let's see what you're saying. This season, he's got some advice for us. He thinks the season is going to be a joy to watch, a real joy. And after Rodgers retires here any day now, oh man, bros, it's all over, but they're crying. Okay, well, we won't be crying if that happens. It could just be different, which is what we've been calling for. Different. Run the offense, run the ball, try a different approach. The good news is he says the team failure will pump up viewership. Start the vent segment now, and we'll triple our subs.
We need that because we only have we have no subscribers because we do these long form opinion shows that nobody wants that. They want rant shows. They want quick info shows.
Yeah, but you also give really great play breakdowns, and then sometimes I try to say something that makes some sense.
Yeah, but nobody cares.
Some people do.
You can clearly it's one thing when you say stuff. Like here's the other thing: is like these people are so blind to the truth. Is they like if you tell them, they don't believe you, and then when you show them, they still don't believe you. Because then because now I'm hearing from people, oh well, the receivers are running the wrong routes, and we heard that from Rodgers today too. He said guys are running the wrong routes. I don't know what other routes there are. It seems like they just have the 2-yard out route. So if that's the wrong route, I don't know what to tell you, because that's all these guys are running. I don't know.
Or the wrong stem. Sometimes it's not the wrong route, but the wrong stem.
Oh, the wrong stem, of course.
Maybe it's the wrong stem.
Okay.
Hey,
simplify it then. Simplify it then.
Just as a quick side note, did you happen to hear Chris Sims' breakdown of the Packers from last week and what he said about Rodgers?
I heard it.
He flat out said it. I don't know how it's one of the simplest offenses in the NFL. Yeah. I don't know how it could get any simpler, is what Chris Sims said. And Chris Sims is like a fanboy of Aaron Rodgers as much as anybody.
Well, he's basing it on what he sees. The things we don't know is if on every play, if these receivers have to like read the defense and then just adjust their routes based on that, and then you know what I mean?
I hate that.
Like,
I hate that approach.
If that's part of it, that's way too complicated. I don't care what anybody says. You
But
could have
that's-
maybe one guy do that on the one side of the field, but like everybody else should be running concepts together that get each other open. Like when you run these plays where guys are supposed to read the defense and then adjust, what if you don't read it right? What if guys screw it up that way? You know what I mean? And it's dumb. And that's probably, if that might be happening, I don't know.
It could be, but that to me, and I don't think that's a big part of Matt LaFleur's offense. That's more of the Rodgers adjustment type stuff that he likes to do. And again, it was, and you said it, you said it in a different way. You talked about how he got his money and then didn't come to camp and then didn't work with any of these guys. And now he's talking about all the mental mistakes by these guys and all the things they're not doing right and blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe all that extra time with you, buddy, could have helped them out to be on the same page of you as you, if this is how you want to run offense. Like, it's just amazing the shield he has, the deflection that the deflector shields are always up and somehow the things just deflect off. And man, everybody else gets it but him. It's just amazing. Either way, the offense is just not producing, and people are going to get on the defense here, Ben, right? People are going to get on the defense, and we want the defense to be dominant, but the defense made impactful plays and they did some good things. There's two issues. One, the offense is so bad, keeps putting them out there, and if you're out there that much, you're going to wear down. You're going to give up plays. You're going to give up drives, especially when your offense doesn't respond and give you a shot in the arm. And number two is the weak spot is number 21, and teams have figured it out and they keep attacking number 21. And on top of that, the highest paid corner in the league, who's one of the top guys in the league, can't cover the best receivers on the other team. He was shown that today, once again. And Terry McLaurin knew it, and he told him it. And he told everybody it, because our dad told us, because he reads lips really well. And he said McLaurin kept saying over and over, "You can't guard me. You can't guard me." And he was right. So you got your two corners who don't want to tackle against running plays, so you can attack them in the running game.
And they did.
And then you have Eric Stokes, where all you have to do is make the guy change direction, and he's done. And you got Jair, who, let's be honest, isn't worth his contract and isn't as good as all the hype. Rasul Douglas, by the way, I know he missed a tackle, but he had 10 tackles today, Ben. 10 tackles.
Well, he was everywhere. How many pass breakups did he have?
I didn't see that. They didn't have that in this stat line, but
He had to have at least 3 pass breakups.
Yep.
He was all over the damn place. He's awesome. He's like their best player. And yet he can't even get in the starting lineup. Stokes needs to be like the 6th guy, period. It needs to be Rasul starting.
First round pick from last year. He's got to be the 6th.
I don't care. We've had Jordan Love's a first round pick. He's never played. So who gives a crap? He needs to start. Stokes needs to be the 4th corner. Nixon needs to be in there at the nickel because he plays great at nickel. And then when they do the dime, move Jair inside, Stokes on the outside, and then keep Douglas on the outside all the time. I will say this. I don't like the blitzes from Rasul. I think he doesn't get to the quarterback, and he also doesn't get all the way across the field and stop the run. There's a couple times I watched, they blitzed him today. Well, unless he just went on his own, I don't know. But he didn't get to the running back. The play went away from him, but he did not get there to make the play. And the running back got a whole bunch of yards. Now, is that his fault that Rashawn Gary? There's one play, Rashawn Gary, I don't know what he was doing. He was just kind of like, he saw a guy a guard pulling toward him. And instead of trying to get around him or try to keep, seal the edge, he went to the inside of him. And then that left a big giant hole to run around. And then Rasul couldn't get around to catch up to him. And then he went for 12 yards. I don't even know what it was. I have to watch the film again, but I know it was that play. And after that play, he was not back in the game.
Well, here's to speak to your point here about that, why you don't like blitzing him. He is probably their most aware player on defense, right? The guy who sees it the best is the most aware, reactive player that they have. And when you blitz him from a side, you take away his ability to read what's going on and attack what's going on in front of him, because you're sending him, because it's an edge blitz, right? So you take a useless guy like Stokes and send him on there, because then he's just running in there, and he has one responsibility: run in there, on the blitz and try to get to the quarterback, and you don't have to be aware of anything else that's going on. That would make more sense to me. Or take a physical guy like Rudy Ford or something like. But I love what I don't know why Rudy Ford was in later in the game, but I liked seeing him in there. And we've seen Keyshawn Nixon attack and be aggressive. Can we get more of these guys that like to play attacking aggressive styles from the defensive back position out there and get the guy that's so passive and is only a one-trick pony in Eric Stokes? The only thing he can do is run fast straight. So if you run a fly on him, he'll probably stick with you. But or a fade on him, he'll probably stick with you. But if you change direction, you're done. He's done, and it's a completion. And just get him off the field. Like, I don't care. He's terrible. Okay. I've said it since the beginning, and everybody told me I was wrong. And I'm sorry. I was right the whole time. The deficiencies are there. They've been there this whole time. It's just the same thing with Royce. The deficiencies are there, yet you keep putting him on the field. I'm tired of it. There's no more play time. You're 3-4 now. You're 3-4, and the Vikings have one loss. Okay? There's no more play time to figure this crap out. This team needs to lean on the defense where all the resources and money and high picks are. They got to lean on that. You got to clean it up. You got to take out your big glaring weakness off the field, and then you attack, and you put a guy like Douglas on the field for every snap.
Hey, my battery's died here because I had to use it all day because my internet went out, so it's going to be gone pretty soon. I just want to say one thing real quick. What do you got
before we go? What else you got?
Well, listen. If Christian Watson is not coming back for whatever reason, then I have no problem with a Claypool draft or a trade. No problem with it. But then if we get Claypool, can we use him? Can we use him? Can we send him in the game? Can we have him in the game on every play as possible?
What if he can't be trusted yet by Aaron Rodgers? Or
I don't care.
Okay.
And if Christian Watson becomes healthy, can we get him out there on every single play and at least be a decoy down the field like MVS would at least do? Because right now the defenses are not afraid of us. They're not afraid of anything past 10 yards because we don't throw the ball more than 2 yards. And unless they start doing something, taking some shots, and can we stop doing the 27,000 players on offense? Pick your best skill guys and have them on the field on every play. Why are we taking guys off the field who are good skill players and then putting in guys like Davis and freaking Big Dog and freaking, Sammy Watkins and all these, I don't even know. These guys who can't do anything with the ball once they catch it. It's dumb. Just keep Aaron Jones out there all the time. Get DeGuara in there. Send Tunyon downfield. No more of these 3-yard turnaround plays. Get him down the seam. He's great. Mm-hmm. He's fast. He can catch. That's just, they don't understand their personnel. They don't attack the defense with the weaknesses, and they don't use their strengths on offense. And it's coaching as well as I want to make it clear. I can't stand Rodgers the way he's playing right now. I don't like that. But I'm telling you, the coaching is bad. When you have players that have skills, and they're probably elite skills, speed in hands, Robert Tunyon, agility and quick movements, Aaron Jones, get him in space. They did that today, which was good. DeGuara, the ability to run after the catch. Amari Rodgers can break some tackles, right? Use those guys and stop putting guys who have zero skill on the field because nobody's afraid of them. And when you get them the ball, nothing happens. So just stop and look at your opponent. If they suck at something, go after the thing that they suck at. Every week has been the same game plan. Shotgun, throw it outside, or RPO, run solution play. That's it. And then once in a while, they do a play action rollout where nobody's open and Rodgers just throws it away or gets sacked or does something dumb. That's all. I can tell you exactly what the plays are every week. And if I can do it and I'm an idiot, the opposing team certainly can figure it out. So LaFleur, this offensive genius, better get his butt together because it's not just the fact that Rodgers' throws are off. It's not just the fact that receivers can't run downfield because they're not fast. It's also the fact that they have talent. They have some talent on the team, and the coaches are not using that talent. The coaches are not figuring out how to get the ball into the playmakers' hands so they can win at what they're best at. Other teams can do it. Other teams did it today. Antonio Gibson's touchdown, that was a great play. That was schemed open to get him the ball at the back of the end zone in a nice pass by Heineke. Perfect play. Yeah. Did they have Jerry McLaurin who had some awesome plays out there because he's really good? Yeah, he's really good. And he caught a lot of really good passes. His touchdown was awesome. A couple of those routes where he came back, and Jair had pretty good coverage, to be honest. But those were really good, great passes and a great tight contested catch. They used them right. Packers don't use their guys right. So it's coaching, it's Rodgers, it's the offensive line. It seems like they're maybe could fix that with some of the moves they did today. And, getting the right guys on the field, just play your best guys. I don't care about the third string tight end and the fourth string tight end. I don't want them out there. I don't care about, Samari Toure and freaking Winfrey and whoever else you want to bring out there. I don't want to see them. If your best player is a running back and a tight end and a wide receiver and maybe a fullback, then run that offense. Give me one receiver, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs, and run that offense and use those players at all times. No more third string freaking tight end, fourth string freaking tight end, a crappy wide receiver who can't get open and can't run deep. It's dumb. It's dumb.
When you look at the game, I want to know how many plays they went with the pony package with Dillon and Jones on the field at the same time.
Well, they did it a lot, but the problem is they don't use them.
Right.
It's like they're out there, but nothing happens out of it. They do stupid RPOs every time when they're out there. It's dumb. Don't do an RPO. Take one of them and get them out of the box and send them outside or over here, and then see what the defense does before the RPO. If the linebacker stays in, then don't run it. And if the linebacker goes out with them, then it's man. Run it. It ain't hard. But no more RPOs. No more 2-yard passes. No more stupid third string players on the field. I don't want to see it. Play your stars and get them the ball, or you're going to keep seeing this crap. 14 points a game can't win you anything. And this offense can't even get a third down conversion. It's bad. Okay, I'm done. I got to go. I'll stay on here, but I'm not going to say anything anymore. My phone might die in like 2 seconds.
Last thing I'll say is hopefully the offensive line, there's some settling there. And if Bakhtiari's knee is acted up again, I mean, I don't know. Can you count on him? Can you count on him being available? And if you can't, then put the guys in the best spots. Were these the best spots today? I'm still not sure about that.
I'm wondering if Zach Tom can play right tackle as good as he can play left tackle. And if that's the case, maybe you play him at right tackle and put Yash at left. And then you have a really strong left side, your offensive line, and you have some young guys at right side. But, the other thing I've got to say right now, Runyon Bunyan is not that great this year.
No,
he's pretty bad.
He's taking a step back.
It's pretty bad.
He was also overinflated last year. He was not that good last year, but a lot of people basically talked about because Royce struggled and then Myers and then, Patrick was utilized. They kind of just thought, well, Runyon's been solid all year. He was not. He had his ups and downs last year, although he was better last year than he has been this year.
The other thing is you mentioned this. Sean Ryan was suited up today.
Why is he suited up? Why is he active? What does he do? Well,
here's the thing. I mean, maybe just put him out there. Put him at right guard and just let him run over some dudes. He's huge.
Yeah.
Maybe he sucks at pass blocking. Fine. Just run it. Put him in there on when it's 4th and 1. Just put him out there. Put him at tight end.
What I saw from him in preseason and what I recall seeing from him in preseason is that he is also guilty of the 1 second block. Like he's got 1 second block deficiency mindset, and then it's done.
Well, Walker was in uniform today too.
What?
Did you see that?
I missed that one. I just saw Ryan. I was like, what?
He was standing there. He was standing there in uniform.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. It's scary to me to think that, I don't know. It's scary to me to think that Bakhtiari's gotten all this cash this whole time, and this knee has been a big issue, and we're going on this length of time, and he's still in and out. And then Jenkins is finally stuck back at guard where he's better, not Still probably not as good as everybody thinks, but better than he is a tackle. That's 100% sure. And, Myers is just automatically starting center. Okay. And we got to figure it out. I mean, Runyon's got to play, and he's got to play better. Yash needs to be in the field. And if he's better at left tackle than right tackle, then put him at left tackle. And Zach Tom, give him a shot. Yeah. Give him a shot at right tackle. Let him play. Because what are your other options? You don't have any better options. So throw the kid in there at right tackle. Let him learn on the fly. Let him figure it out.
Either way, this coaching staff they don't like scout themselves, because if they did, they'd realize that they're doing the same crap all the time and anybody can figure it out. And then also, I don't think they scout the opponent for weaknesses. I don't know what this coaching staff even does.
That's weird. It is weird.
It seems like they just run the same crap all the time and then expect it to work, but it never works. It's just, there's a lot of issues. And that's why, like, I rip on Rodgers so much, because he never takes the blame. And apparently a lot of the fans are like, well, it can't be Rodgers. He's the greatest ever. And it's this guy. And you know what? It is this guy. But it's also Rodgers too. And that's the thing. And he's the guy who makes the most money. And he's the guy who has the ball in his hand on every single play. So guess what? He's the biggest culprit of the problem. But it's not just him. It is a whole bunch of stuff. And it's been there this whole time. Think back of how many wins the Packers squeaked out over the last couple of years, and how many times when they lost, they got blown out.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, they had just enough stuff to squeak out these type of games, like they lost today. But now they're losing the close ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference, because and they're losing the close ones because they have, like, how many times do we have everybody be like, well, so many drives that stalled in the second half. So many drives that stalled in the second half. That's all I heard last year, right? Well, it was the same damn crap, except that we didn't have the Devontae Adams just throw it up there and then he catches it. Now, was Devontae Adams all that great? No. But it helped this team like this much to not lose games.
And
but
so
is
that a coach's issue because they allowed that to happen? They allowed that to be...
I think it is, though.
Blame the coaches for allowing Rodgers to play that way rather than learn how to play the offense and run the offense.
Right, but they also weren't scheming anything either. Like, it was just Rodgers just throw it up there. Now, I'm going to watch this tape, the L22, and I'm going to see on plays that weren't the dumb RPOs and 2-yard passes what was going on and what happened in all these plays that didn't convert. Was it just the bad passes? Was it just drops? Was it all that stuff? And we'll see it. We'll look at it on Tuesday, or whenever I get it and I have time to look at it. But, there's a lot of issues, and I just, it's everybody's fault, including the quarterback, including the coaching, including the players. Everything's bad. Everything. And that's what you see on the field is just everything's bad. It's ugly.
And it's a turning point time. Last week coming into this game should have been turning point time for everything. But so they did a big shakeup on the offensive line. All right. Now it's time to shake up the defense where the weaknesses are.
Yep. Get Douglas on the field. Stokes off.
You're 3-4.
Big shout out to Kingsley Enigbari today too.
Yeah, he played
great.
well. He might be sneaky. He might be got a couple of guys in the running for the silent but deadly player of the week.
I thought Quay Walker did pretty dang good too, except for that one time where he couldn't tackle that guy and then he got the first down. That was kind of sad. That made me sad.
He had 13 tackles today.
Yeah, well, he should have had. Well, that was the tackle he got, but he could have stopped it before the first down.
I know he tried.
But yeah.
Somehow Devondre Campbell also had 12 tackles today. He looked a little better, so maybe he's coming around. But yeah, Douglas
better today.
Douglas with 10 tackles. That's great. Actually, look at this. Ford he was 5th in tackles on the team today. And how many snaps was he on the field?
It might have been special teams tackles too.
That's true. Hey, Devontae Wyatt flashed a little bit today too. Give him a cred.
Well, he does what he always does. He hustles,
So I guess that's the frustrating thing, right? It's like you got some guys showing you some things. Now let's give them some more playing time. Take the guys that are getting a bunch of snaps and not showing you anything off the field, and take some of these guys that are showing you stuff in limited snaps and see what they can do with more snaps.
Yeah, on the offense and on the defense.
Yeah. And
then stop playing guys that aren't doing jack squat.
And figure out, like you said, figure out what their strengths are. Who should who should get the tight end screens? Josiah DeGuara.
Yep.
Because he's the fastest guy getting started from a stop. Who should not get the tight end screens? Big Dog or Robert Tonyan?
But who should not be wasted on a chip block? Robert Tonyan. Send him
Yeah,
downfield. He's
that's
fast and he
right.
catches everything. Just send him. Don't waste him on a chip block.
No.
Put Big Dog in there on a chip block, or put DeGuara. Actually, you know what? I think DeGuara would be good on a chip block. But don't waste Tonyan on a chip block.
No.
Send him downfield. He's fast. Dumb. Know what your guys can do and do the right things. They don't know. After all these years, they've had these guys for 3 years. Both those two guys. Tonyan 4 years. They still don't know. They don't know what to do with them. How do you not know? I got it. My battery's going to die.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys later in the week. Again, we'll have honest film review. We'll show you what happened. Ben will have a bunch of good plays, and I'll try to not say something too dumb. All right, 3 and 4. It's turning point, turning around time. We'll catch you guys later in the week, Tuesday or Wednesday night. We'll find out later. Bye.
Find